Layering sounds. It can be the difference between a beginner and pro production. So what exactly does it mean to layer a sound? It is taking an existing drum hit or instrument and adding another layer to it to create depth, texture, and more harmonics. This isn't just randomly stacking drum hits or instruments on top of each other. This needs to be done in the right way with a thorough thought process before, so we get a much fuller sound without just increasing the volume. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Alright guys, so here we are. I've got two different loops here that are playing similar things, just as one of them has layered sounds on it. So I'll play it through for you. Now hopefully you heard the difference between the two and that the second one just sounded a lot more full and professional because it was layered in the right way. Just before we break down that second loop, I'm going to show you what layering the wrong way can do. So I've got this lead here. If I go ahead and add another one that sounds quite similar to it, they're both clashing in the same area, and so that's why we need to be strategic in when we layer. We need to think, am I adding something to the high end? Am I adding something to the low end? Am I adding something to the left or right? And just to help visually see that better, I've got this audio spectrum analyzer. So the original lead is just lacking a lot of mid-range and even some upper harmonics. If I go ahead and add this second one, you'll notice we just filled the same area and it's not doing anything different than the first one was doing. So once again, that's why we really need to think about what sound we're adding and not just adding something for the sake of it. So let me walk through now the layered tracks and show you what I've done. I've got the kick, which has got this really nice deep low end to it. But I really want that kick to stand out in the mix, and so I need some upper range harmonics to help that. So I've got an acoustic kick, which I've taken out some of the low end here with the EQ, so it's not clashing with this deep kick. We had this low end too, along with this deep one. It would create a bit of muddiness. It sounds like one kick drum, but we've got a low, a mid, and a high end to help it stand out. Next, we've got this bass line, and there was absolutely nothing wrong with this first bass. But for me, I didn't like the low end as much as I liked the top end. So a simple way to fix that is I just got an EQ, just like the kick. I've taken out these low frequencies. So I've got the high end that I liked, and then I've got a totally different instrument for the low end for the bass. And for me, that was the low end I was after in the first place. So to combine together creates one really nice bass track. Next, we've got the snare. I've got three different snares here. The main sounding one is this acoustic snare, and that's because for the track I really wanted a live drummer feel to it. But I noticed it was lacking a bit of low end. So I've got this drum machine snare, which is known for its low end. And together, really helps it stand out. And then I've got this snap, which is just purely for texture purposes. It's something that you're really going to hear throughout the mix, but these subtle differences actually go a really long way in the end. So I'll play that one in comparison to the first one. Night and day the difference in my eyes. Next, we've got our layered piano, and the first piano was really nice. But the thing about a piano is it's just in that mid-range area. There's nothing really in that upper field that's going to help it stand out. So to add to that, we've got a few different layers. We've got a synth hit, which is just going to work on that initial hit, that initial transient. And that's just in the center along with the piano. Then we've got our keys to the left. So it's doing two things for me. It's on the left, so it's staying away from that piano in the mix. And then it's also got that swirl to it. And that's texture. That's characteristic. That's what's going to give your track a lot of depth. Then we've got these keys to the right. And if you hear, it's got a lot of that upper harmonic range that I was missing in the piano. So just this one solid with the piano. It's already making it sound brighter, and that's going to really help standing out in the mix. Now to layer a sound, you don't actually just need to just add different instruments on top of one another. For me, I wanted this chord change to be of more emphasis. So I've got this Rhodes playing here. Just playing that one chord, and that's going to help that chord change. So once again, it's being strategic about why we're doing something in the first place. I thought, all right, I really want that to feel uplifting. So by doing that, I've got a nice high sounding Rhodes piano. It's going to help. It's going to help that change a lot. Next, I've got this filtered brass, which just like this laid piano, when I had things to the left and right, that's just to not take away from the piano itself, because that's the main element. So this is going to the right. And as you can hear, it's got a filter on it. So this is sweeping up and down. Once again, creating depth, creating movement, and that's going to excite the track a lot. And because I've just put that brass to the right, I wanted to add something to the left as well. And I've got a lot of mid-range elements with this brass, with this piano, and I thought some high strings would really help it uplift a bit more and almost make it sound heavenly. So all four together. A lot better in my eyes to just the standard piano. Next, we've got this layered lead, which I've got 4 different leads for. I've got the original one, which is playing in the first one. And then I've got this second one. And if you hear, it's actually an arpeggio. So if I press a note, it's going to start arpeggiating a rhythm. But because these notes are really short, it's not going to happen unless the note's a bit longer. So only for this D sharp, it's going to play that arpeggio. And when I heard that, it instantly made it stand out to me. Because that's the only lead that's doing that, it's going to be quite subtle. And just like I said before, these subtle differences actually go a long way in the end. Then we've got our lead that's panned to the left. And that's being added there for texture purposes and also to fill out that higher end. We've got our lead to the right. And that's a really nice video game type of sound that's going to add a different characteristic to the lead. So altogether, if I start taking out these layers, you're really going to notice the difference in them. As I took out each one of those, it really changed the whole sound, and it just felt like something was missing. And for me, that's a really important factor to think about. If I take away a sound, does it feel like something's missing? And if so, then I think it's a really important layer to have in. Now, obviously there's times that you want to layer and there's times that you don't want to layer. For this being a chorus, it'd be really great to have layered sounds to make it sound more full and louder, because that's what you want, the impact that the verse doesn't. So if I was doing a verse, I wouldn't layer too many sounds, or if I did, I would make it quite minimal. So if I played this first one going into this second one, you could almost think like this was the verse and this was the chorus. So just keep that in mind. There's definitely times to layer sounds and there's also times not to. Hopefully you've seen by the first example that layering can negatively impact your track if you haven't done it in the right way. So please be careful when layering. Have a plan to yourself first and think, what do I need to add? Do I want it to have more texture? Do I want the sound wider? So I'm going to pan it to the left and right. Before layering, just think about the 2 words that I've emphasized today: the dynamics of your sound and filling the audio spectrum, and texture. Please let me know if you have any questions. Just drop a comment and I'll get back to you. And thanks so much for staying to the end of the video. I really appreciate it. Please like and subscribe. If you want to check out my latest video, just click on here. Until then, I'll see you guys in the next one.